Hey, my fellow property managers, Marc Cunningham at Grace Management. Every PM company out there has asked themselves this question at one point in time. When you're first starting off your company, when do I make my first hire? When do I make my next hire is a question that you may ask yourself if you're a little bit larger of a company. Let me just offer some thoughts and suggestions, whether you're a small one-man, one-woman shop and you're wanting to grow, whether you're a larger organization and you're always asking yourself that, is it ready? Should I hire? We're busy, maybe I should bring somebody on. I think there are some processes and mental triggers you can have in place to give you clarity on when you should hire and when you're not ready to hire. So here we go. If you're small, you're just starting off, here is your first and most important goal before you even consider hiring somebody. That is this: get 50 doors. Nothing else matters until you get 50 doors, because until you have 50 doors, with all due respect, you don't have a company. It's a hobby until then. You've got to get 50 doors, and getting 50 doors will tell you so much, because the time it takes for you to get 50 is a great measuring tool for your future projected growth. If you get 50 doors in 2 months, my friends, you are killing it. Congratulations. You're going to have to bring somebody on quickly, because it's going to tell you the trajectory of growth. If it takes you 2 years to get 50 doors, you need to think about whether or not you want to stay in business, because this is going to take you a long time to get this business going. So this becomes sole purpose number one. Don't worry about processes. Don't worry about systems. You don't worry about anything when you are first starting other than getting 50 doors. You'll figure it out as you go. Don't you worry that way. But you got to get 50 doors. That's number one. You cannot even consider hiring a person, part-time, assistant, anything else, until you have 50 doors. I don't allow you to do so. Number two, these are the steps to hiring. So now you get your 50 doors. Okay, you say, hey, I think I'm ready. I'm really going to consider hiring somebody. Okay, here's the steps you need to follow. Number one, you need to write down what the position will be responsible for. This does not need to be a 7-page job description. This simply needs to be a 1-pager. That's all it should be. What is the position going to be responsible for? Remember, this is step one in the hiring process. Don't start interviewing people. Don't go anything beyond this first thing. Sit down, and whether you're a 1-person shop right now or you're a 20-person shop, when you're ready to make that next hire, this still applies. Sit down, pull out a piece of paper, open up your laptop, type out, write down, what is the position going to be responsible for? Okay, you with me so far? Good. Number two, you're going to now create a job title. You say, well, Marc, hold on. I'm not into job titles. Job titles aren't a big deal for us because it's only a pride and vanity thing. I understand what you're saying, but in the case of this, what we're doing here, this is really, really important. Why? Because it's going to force you to bring clarity to the role. I agree with you. Job titles don't matter other than the fact that they tell the person in the position and they tell others outside of the company what the position does. Big picture. If I introduce you to the person at my office and I introduce you to Maggie, my director of accounting, I don't need to say anything else. You have a sense of what Maggie's role and responsibility is in our company, just by virtue of me telling you her job position. If I introduce you to one of my executive property managers, Sherry, you kind of have a sense of what Sherry does right off the bat, because job titles matter in communicating responsibility, in communicating authority, in communicating where they fit. And here's your secondary rule. You are not allowed to use the word admin or assistant in the job title. Okay, just strike that from your vocabulary, because most of the time, if you have the word admin or assistant in the job title, not always, but most of the time, what that means is you haven't thought through what the position's going to be doing enough. And so you just throw in an admin. Well, I'm going to hire, here's the worst, I'm going to hire an administrative assistant, meaning you have no clue what this person's going to do. You just know you need some help, and I'll just bring him in, and then every day I'll just give him some of my things off my plate to do. My friends, the odds of that working well for you are very, very low. Why? Because you haven't brought clarity to the position to tell the position and structure it in such a way that's saying, hey, position, you're responsible for these 5 things. You're responsible for taking phone calls. You're responsible for all the mail every day. You're responsible for taking maintenance calls, and you're responsible for emptying the trash. And here's the 4 things you're responsible for. We're going to call this position our office administrator. I didn't say admin, I said administrator, so I'm borderline breaking my own rule there. What are you going to call the position? Because it brings clarity to the role. That's number 2. Number 3, you have to ask yourself this very, very hard question. How is the company going to pay for the position? Is it just going to come out of your bottom line? Maybe you're making enough money on a month-over-month basis that you think, well, I'll just bring home $3,000 less per month, and I'll just pay this role $3,000 less. It's a hit to the bottom line, but it's worth it because it'll free up some of my time. That's acceptable. You could say that. Or you could say, gosh, I don't have a lot of margin in the company. So how am I going to pay for this position, which is going to cost me $3,000 a month? I better go figure out how the company is going to generate another $3,000 a month to pay for this person. Maybe it's more doors. Maybe it's new streams of offerings and revenue that you can generate in your business. But how is the business going to generate the money necessary to pay for the position? Now, as a sidebar on that, my best recommendation to you is set aside 6 months worth of the funds to fund that role. So if you're paying a person $3,000 a month, it would be ideal, if you can, to set aside what 6 times 3, $18,000 on the side when you hire the person. So that way you've got a runway of 6 months to pay this person before you have to figure out number 3, which is how I'm going to pay for them. It gives you 6 months to generate the more income, generate the new business, figure out a way for the business to create the money needed to pay for that role. And you've got to do that every time you hire a person. So when you hire them, and a year later, 6 months later, 2 months later, you're ready to hire again, you go through the same steps every single time that way. Now, before I tell you the next step in this process, I want to thank the sponsor for this month's video, VPM Solutions. Maybe this hire is going to be a virtual assistant. You want to save some money? Hire a VA. They can do almost everything that your in-house people can do. So jump on their website, vpmsolutions.com. You can create, we talked about job descriptions, you can create position descriptions right there. They have them downloaded or downloadable for you right there. They do it for you. They will tell you the position description for the position you want to create. They'll tell you what they're typically responsible for. You can train VAs, you can find VAs, you can pay VAs, you can give them tests to ensure that they work with your software. Are they Rent-Vine compliant? They will tell you all that. So when you're ready for that first hire, if you want to figure out whether or not a VA is going to work for you, jump on vpmsolutions.com. They can help you bring in a VA and save you a lot of money when it does come to hiring. Okay, step number 4. Now you are able to bring a person on. I'm not telling you how to hire. I'm just telling you when it's ready to hire. But then the next thing is this. You can only re-review your hiring decision every 50 doors. So what that means is you get to 50 doors. Remember what I said? Don't do anything until you get to 50. You get to 50, you look it up and you review all these and you think, no, you know what, I'm okay. I got a VA through VPM Solutions. I'm just going to keep going and I'll re-review later. When is later? Later is when you hit the next 50 door mark. Because here's what too many of us do. We get busy, we get upset, we get frustrated. It's the middle of summer and we're really, really busy. We think maybe I should hire somebody and you think, no, tomorrow will calm down a little bit. I don't need to worry about that right now. And then 2 days later, you think it again. Maybe I should just bring somebody on. I'm so busy. I don't have time right now. And then 3 days later, you rehearse the entire conversation in your head again. That becomes a distraction. Instead, you make the decision one time. Every 50 doors, you have the mental conversation with yourself. Is it time for me to hire another person? If it is, go do it. If it's not, then you are not allowed to re-engage your own brain in that conversation until you've hit another 50 doors. So when you commit and say, nope, I'm not going to hire someone yet, I don't need them yet. Okay, you can't re-engage in that question to yourself until you hit the next 50. Once you hit the next 50 and you reach that milestone, you ask yourself the question, is it time now? Should I bring them on? And if the answer is yes, you do it, but then you don't do it again for 50 doors. It's a 50 door stair step or threshold, and those are the only time you're allowed to ask yourself, because that frees your mind up from this constant little nagging in your ear. It's time to hire, it's time to hire, it's time to hire. No, it's not. Get 50 more doors. Now, we've been talking about when is the time to hire. For those of you that are members of our video coaching group, depending on where you're at in that process, we've already told you how. We've given you job descriptions for PMs. We've told you interview questions. We've told you where to post the job position, what things to ask them, what things to look for, how to decipher the likelihood of them working out. So make sure if you're a member of our video coaching group, you go back and watch that one before you're ready to hire. If you're not a member of our video coaching group, my friends, come on, get on board with us here. We would love to have you join. We give out a lot of additional information, documentation, share everything we have that way. You can jump on our website, pmbuild.com, go to the coaching page, join our video coaching group. Hope this was helpful to you as you decide when to hire. Hiring's hard. It's a really, really hard thing to think through. It's a hard thing to do. Practice makes perfect, though, with this, my friends. Until next time, as always, I wish you success.